Today's video is all about step 5 in my 5x2 financial freedom framework. And if you haven't checked out the previous 4 videos, I will leave links to those below in the description. I am Tiffany Thomas with wealthytiffany.com, and I achieved financial freedom and became a millionaire. If you're looking to do one or both of those things, make sure and hit that like button and hit the subscribe button, and we are going to dive right in. All right, today's video is all about step number 5, which is securing your financial freedom. You are going to learn the last step on your path to financial freedom and the 2 sub-steps that are included in that and why you do not want to leave this step out. Plus, I'm going to share my own example on what I have done to make sure I stay financially free. We are going to talk about being smart and being giving, because once we achieve financial freedom, we want to make sure that we stay financially free. So let's talk about being smart first off. The first item that I want to talk about is taking care of yourself and your assets. You want to make sure that you are staying healthy and that you are taking care of your properties if you own properties. That way you can continue to keep your expenses really low, especially medical expenses, which tend to get higher when we get older. And then the second thing is going along with that, you want to make sure that you are taking care of yourself and your assets, but you also want to protect yourself and your assets. So you want to make sure that you have either a will or a trust or even both in place and have beneficiaries on your investment accounts and even your checking accounts, anything that has to do with your finances, and then make sure that you are insured. The next item is being flexible, and I've talked about this before in quite a few different videos, but we really want to make sure that we are keeping an eye on our investments when we are financially free, because we want to make sure that we aren't spending all of our money and then we have to go back to work later. So if we keep an eye on our investments, and when the stock market is taking a dip, like it is currently, we pull back on our spending, and when the stock market is up, when our investments are up, then we can spend a little bit more. But we want to make sure that we are flexible. And then also we can watch for opportunities that might come our way to invest in something else. And we can also stay up to date on what is happening in the financial world. That way, if there is something new that has come out that is better than what we are investing in or an account that we have, then we can switch over to something better. And then we also want to keep our taxes as low as possible. We want to make sure we know what investments we have in our tax advantaged accounts and in our non-tax advantaged accounts, and then we are pulling out our investments at the right time so that we can keep our taxes as low as possible. And the next thing is we want to automate what we can. And this goes throughout our entire journey of becoming financially free. We still want to be investing perhaps, and if we want to do that, it's better if we can just automate our investments. And then also we want to automate our payments. We don't want to have to think about making different payments all the time and accidentally missing a payment and then getting charged a late fee, and then we're actually paying more than we originally planned. And another thing is not changing our strategy. And I'm not talking about necessarily sticking with one thing your entire life, but if you are started in one direction, then keep going and master that. Get really good at it and continue with it. And then you can continue to expand your knowledge, but you're not just getting your toes wet in one thing and then switching over to another and not really becoming successful with one thing. And we still want to negotiate for goods and services. We want to make sure that we are keeping our expenses as low as possible still. So we still want to call our internet company and make sure we are getting the best price there, and our car insurance or home insurance, all of those types of things. We don't want to just leave those and increase our expenses over time. And then you also want to keep an eye on your credit score, especially if you plan on opening up a new line of credit. Maybe you want to open a new credit card later on, or you want to take out a small loan for another investment, things like that. So just make sure that you know what your credit score is. And one way I like to keep an eye on my credit score is by using Credit Karma. It's completely free, and you can see what balances you have left, any debts that you might have, all of your accounts that are open, and then it will show you your estimated credit score. So I really like using that. It's an easy way to keep an eye on my credit. They will also give you suggestions on how to increase your credit score. If that's something you're interested in, I will leave my referral link below. You can click on that to set up a free account so that you can always keep an eye on your credit score. And the next thing is to utilize your own competitive advantage and make sure that you are trusting yourself. So by knowing yourself, knowing your own temptations or your weaknesses, your strengths, you can utilize that with your finances. And also if you have certain connections in real estate, then you can utilize those connections. If you know one of your weaknesses is watching the stock market too often and you get really scared when the stock market goes down and you want to pull out your investments, then you probably don't want to be investing in risky things so that you don't end up pulling out your investments. So comment below and tell me one way that you have been smart with your money. And let's move to the next subsection in securing our financial freedom. And this is all about being giving. Generosity is the path to wealth. We want to be giving throughout this entire process. By doing so, that breaks that power of spending and accumulation, which is just focusing on ourselves all of the time. We can be more satisfied with what we actually do have instead of always wanting more. We can realize that we do have enough, and we can know the difference between our wants and our needs and focus on taking care of our needs first. We can also realize there's not just joy in having money, but also there is joy in helping meet others' needs. And when we are focused more on the outside instead of on the inside, just on ourselves, then we can even be more aware of other people's needs and be able to help them. And also we want to secure our investments for our posterity. We want to leave that legacy. And that is just one other way that we can be giving with our wealth. And I shared this study in a previous video, but I want to share it again. It says that generous people have healthier bodies, minds, and relationships. And in the long run, they actually make more money than people who are selfish. So in other words, it literally pays to be generous. And just a few more reasons about why we want to be giving. When we have that giving mentality, that's basically self-denial. We can realize that our lives can be more fulfilled without more stuff. And I really like this concept. I've been trying to reduce the amount of stuff that I own, and it does make a big difference. We don't need a ton of stuff to be happy. I surely don't need as many clothes as I have to be happy. And when we don't have that attitude of giving, when we are selfish, we lose the real meaning of money. Money is only a resource to help better our lives and others' lives. Also, when we are grateful and when we are giving, then the more that we are open to receiving. If we have that mindset of, I have to hoard everything, I can't share anything or do anything nice for anyone else, then we are not going to receive opportunities to receive. And if we are setting the example of having a joyful and a happy life, we can inspire others to do the same. And not only inspiring others, but we can also share with others what we have learned. Comment below and tell me what's one way that you have been able to give. And I want to share my own example of how these two items have worked in my own life. So let's first talk about being smart. I try to keep myself healthy and take care of my properties. I really love doing Zumba. I know I've talked about that in multiple videos before. And I also teach Zumba. I find it to be really fun and it is a great way to get exercise. And I'm even trying to eat more healthy. I know that when I eat healthy and when I exercise, my medical expenses are going to stay pretty low. I've also been able to be flexible since I am financially free, and the stock market is down right now as I'm recording this video. And I'm being flexible and not pulling money out of my stock market investments. When they are so low, I'm coming up with other ways to reduce my expenses or increase my income. And going along with the opportunities side of things, I am constantly thinking about different ways that I could make money. And one thing I am pondering right now is doing Airbnb. I have a roommate that will be moving out soon, and I'm considering putting that room on Airbnb. I've also thought about building a tiny home in my backyard, and I've gotten a quote for that. So there's just different things I'm thinking about all of the time that could help increase my income. And also, I try to keep my taxes as low as possible so that I can pay as little as possible. I paid a large amount last year, so I am trying to be better this year. And like I talked about before, I like keeping that strategy the same as long as it's working for me. So that is why I focused on long-term rentals. And I have that down, so now I feel like I can explore the opportunity of doing an Airbnb. I kept an eye on my credit score, and when I was ready to purchase another property, I made sure to boost my credit score as much as possible. And if you're wondering how I did that, I have another video with all of the details. I'll leave a link above and below. You can check that out later on. And I've made sure to automate my investing as much as possible and my payments as much as possible. And one thing I wanted to share, I use a credit union for one of my credit cards, and I actually had to call them and have them set up an automatic payment that would pay my entire balance. I could online do the minimum payment with an automatic payment, but I wasn't able to do my full balance. So I ended up calling them and they set it up for me, so that is automated. So if you don't see the option to automate your payment, especially for your full balance on a credit card, then give them a call and ask them if they can set it up for you. And I've also used my competitive advantage. I have my sister who is a real estate agent, so I've used her to buy my properties. And then let's move to the next subsection, which is to be giving. One thing that I've always done and will continue to do is to pay my tithing. That's something that I find very important to do. And I know I have received blessings from doing that, and not all of them have been monetary blessings. Also, I try to be satisfied with what I do have, instead of just accumulating more and more stuff that is not going to bring me happiness, which goes along with knowing what my needs are and what my wants are. And of course, I can spend money on my needs, and if there is something I want, then usually I will wait to buy that purchase. Instead of immediately making the purchase, I'll wait maybe 24 hours. And I've also used this strategy before. If there's something that I want to buy, I just say, okay, well, I'll buy it the next day. And then when the next day comes, I'll say, I'll buy it the next day. And I just keep putting it off and see how long I can put it off. And sometimes when I do that, I don't even want the purchase anymore. And also, I try to be grateful for everything that I do have. When I have that attitude of gratitude, it makes a really big difference because I'm focusing on the things that I already have instead of focusing on what I am lacking. And when I'm thinking about all of those different things that I am grateful for, I realize that I have a ton of stuff already. And it's not just the physical things that I'm being grateful for, it's also the people in my life and the relationships I have, things like that. And when I'm doing that, it makes me a happier person, which means I don't need to be spending money to be happy. And then hopefully I am inspiring others to be better with their money, and I'm able to share the things that I have learned, especially in these videos. Like I said at the beginning, make sure and check out my other videos that I have done on the previous 4 steps. And if you want to get a little bit of a boost in your financial freedom fund, Webull is giving away 6 free stocks when you set up a free account. I will leave my referral link below in the description. You can click on that and get your 6 free stocks. And if you found this video helpful, please hit that like button and share it with someone else who would like to hear this information. And to the subscribe button to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you want to see even more content from me, make sure and check out the videos on the side of the screen. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.